Hello, and welcome to another video. Recently I've noticed that jungle is still not such a popular position in the lower elos whenever I play there, while I believe it to be one of, if not the best role to climb out of low elo on. So I want to give some insights on how you can utilize this role to really speedrun your climb, let's say. So also, for the record, priority positions are generally the best ones to be playing anyway, as they are the positions that are most likely to be filled. And in a lot of elos, especially lower down, I've noticed that the positions that tend to be priority positions are going to be jungle and support. And jungle and support being priority positions is quite funny, as those two roles actually, let's say, they have a sizable impact on the game. And with that being the case, it's really a waste for people to not be using them, as when you do go higher elo, these roles do become more popular generally, as the people who do tend to play these roles tend to climb higher up, right? So if you utilize them as well, then you will have a much easier time and can go impact your games a lot more than on, say, like, especially like, let's say, AD carry role, where it's highly contested, so the people that you're playing against are generally going to be ADC mains, contrary to jungle, where the people that you're playing against are either one, laners who decide to queue up jungle because, I don't know, their jungler tilted them, either two, people who are secondary role filled, three, people who are truly filled, completely didn't even queue the role, or four, a jungle main. So you have four options. Anyway, though, so if you can do level 1 stuff, it's pretty good generally, but you don't want to really overcommit or show your game. Especially if you have some kind of a game plan that you want to go for. Generally, in the current state of things, Lily is a pretty good champion, and the reason for that, or well, part of the reason for that, is going to be because of the way that the map has been changed from the old map that we should still remember, it's not that old, to the new map, where the vertical jungle paths are much easier to execute. A ward on your buffs or a ward on jungle entrances is going to be a lot more impactful these days, as it's quite likely that a lot of junglers will opt for something like doing two of their camps and then doing two of your camps, or whatever else they may choose to do, or start on your camps, whatever it may be. So here, a common thing to do on a lot of these champions that are strong early, it was already common. These champs like Nidalee, Graves, Jarvan even, or something, it was common to do a buff, say red buff, and then to invade the enemy jungler level 2. With the change to the map, this is going to be even easier to do generally, especially as junglers, as you go higher elo, are going to be less and less likely to get a leash. In the lower elo, junglers do tend to ask for a leash, so you're generally going to see someone get a leash on the red or the blue buff, which is going to mean that they're going to save the smite for the second camp, and it's going to be a lot less likely for their game to be completely ruined when you level 2 invade them. But if you're also getting a leash, then it's not going to be such a big deal. Anyway, though, still can be pretty impactful. Here, for example, this guy lost his flash and lost the camp, I believe. Yeah. And then saw some fighting in top lane and collected that kill. So then you might consider, okay, well, what's the priority now? We just want to get some XP, because XP is going to be the most impactful thing in the earlier stages of the game. So you can do whatever clear you want just to get some XP, especially if you're cycling your own camps, because you want to level up your camps as soon as possible. Right? Pretty simple. If you're ever in doubt of what you should be doing at that current point in time, then probably the best thing to do is your camps. As if you're doing your camps throughout the whole game, then you're going to find it a lot easier to play. Here, for example, you could also do your Gromp, and then you would be making the Echo probably on the Scuttle. But I just chose the Scuttle first, as that makes it more likely that I will be able to take it away from him, and also find the second scuttle to then kill. Scuttle's low HP, look for a snipe or something, harass them a bit, kill them, whatever. Sure. Really not too impactful. Then take the second scuttle just to deny him. Focus on denial, right? Q here, as I'm pretty sure he's either on the Gromp or the Gromp is up. So then I end up hitting him. Okay, amazing, great. We got a kill and the Gromp. And this is basically like game over for him. All I have to do now, from this point onwards, is just clear my camps, take the objectives, and whenever I feel like it, when I don't have too much stuff to do, I can also go invade him. With an item advantage, it's not really too hard. If you invade him, yes, a 700 gold item. I have like almost 2k gold worth of items. We also have an engage support, so not too hard. Now, what am I gonna do? Dragon? Nope. I'm going to do my camps. Why? All of my camps are up. They've been up for a bit, so I want to cycle my camps so that I will level up. If I do dragon right now, the problem is I'm not leveling up, right? I'm not leveling up my camps. So you need to balance out your... Let's say that ganking is your source of income for gold, and camps are your source of income for XP. So you need to balance out your gold and your XP. And the neutrals are neutrals, right? Like when you can't do stuff, basically neutrals. As you go higher up, the neutrals become more important. As you're lower elo, the neutrals are kind of less important. Also, one thing to keep in mind that a lot of people don't really understand until a decent rank up in elo is the dragon doesn't do anything on its own. This is a few percent AD AP. Okay, it gives you some AD, some AP. But the second dragon, the third dragon, the fourth dragon are not going to be any easier for you to take just because you got the first dragon. They're actually going to be harder for you to take because the enemy is more likely to contest them in a way. So if you can become a stronger champion by the second, third, fourth dragon, then it will be more likely that you're getting the next dragons. And you're also more likely to snowball off that as people are going to contest those dragons. The first dragon, they may give up. Especially if you're sneaking it or something, they're not going to do anything with it. A big advantage you can get is whenever people try to contest the objective that you are going for, especially if you're ahead, you're going to get the objective and you're probably going to kill them and you're going to get their camps, which makes it a triple source of snowball. Like here, for example, this guy's way weaker, and because I didn't go for dragon, I'm on top side, so I play for his camps. Okay. He's still not level 6 at 8 minutes. He's not even close. He's at the start of level 5, right? Then because he is so much weaker and he is just trying to contest his camp, I can also kill his laner. And he can't really do much about it because first of all I have boots, and second of all I'm going to have first move on anything because I get to decide where I want to go. Right? He doesn't really decide where I'm going. I decide where he's going. Because if I'm here, then he's not going to enter here. So basically then his choices are either he goes here or he waits for me to allow him to enter, right? And that's how you control the enemy jungler and where he can go. And you can imagine this game is pretty easy to wrap up. I don't know, just kill enemy team like 10 times and game ends. As the enemy jungler is way too far behind to contest anything, and you just take whatever you want. Right? This is one example. But you can say, okay, well, what if I don't want to play a level 2 invading jungler? And I want to, I don't know, I want to like full player or something. Alright. Let's say you want to full play. Another game in the Emerald rank. An amazing rank to play in. Lovely. So this time we are starting on the blue buff, Lisa's, and we are full. Haven't really played Evelyn in a bit, so here is a bit off, but not too off. Mostly just fucked up like one or two things. But then, okay, so what I really do enjoy on champs like Evelyn is if your clear is pretty good, right? So let's say that your clear is like 310 or something, and you are pretty sure that the enemy jungler started at the same side as you. You don't have to contest the scuttle, right? Because at this point, I'm just fighting him for it, like a 50-50, and kind of like, okay, well, are my laners going to help? Are his laners going to help? Am I going to beat him 1v1? Like, what's up there, right? What I can instead do is, after clearing my jungle, which should be a 310 clear, obviously it wasn't because I made like one or two errors that I realized anyway, but kind of this autopilot. What you can do is you can base after clearing all your camps. You can buy some items, say like this. This gives me a total of 53 AP, while otherwise I would have maybe like 18 or something. Let's see, 35. Yeah, it seems like something like that. Probably had like 18 before. Yeah. Okay. So then I can go bot side and I can actually fight for whatever I want to fight for here. If the enemy jungler's clear is slower or whatever, I can also fight him on the scuttle. And here as well, if I didn't go for the gank, I could get the scuttle, and if he tries to contest this, I could easily kill him. It ended up being unfortunate because the Leona actually played it well and blocked the charm for Caitlyn, or rather, she blocked my way of doing the Caitlyn, as the Caitlyn was smart, and I couldn't really CC her, and we have a Shaco support, so not really too useful on the gank, right? Okay, alright, maybe it was a miscalculation, who knows. But that's great for us, right? So then jungler got the double scuttle. He started this this path that is, yeah, I don't know. People love starting Raptors for some reason. I'll tell you straight up, like, I believe that Raptor start has like a I don't know, like a 45 win rate last time I checked or something, compared to just full clearing your jungle has like a 53 or something. I don't know. It's very interesting. On some champs, it's obviously going to be good, but on a lot, I don't know. Here, also look for a kill, but it's the only champ that does not take damage. If it was like most other supports, could probably just kill, but this guy put points into W apparently, so doesn't really take much damage. Press W, it's just all my damage. Yeah, whatever. The dragon here, because I want to kind of like just take everything if I can. And the enemy team contest, like, see what I mean? This is kind of like what I mean with that. People are way too focused on these dragons, these like grubs and whatever, and they just lose the game over it. Like, I know the enemy bot lane recalled, and I delayed their recall as well, so I'm going to go for this, right? And also, I know that Kha'Zix will end up being bot side again, so if I can get this off the map now, I can then full clear, and after my full clear, he will probably maybe take the grubs if he wants to, but he can't take them yet, right? Because they delayed the spawn. These people are all just wasting their time and basically like dying or whatever for nothing, kind of. So now, even though he got a double scuttle, we're almost even in CS. And my Shaco ends up invading him because this guy lost so much HP, and he also telegraphs his jungle path. Great, right? So now, this guy completely threw the lead that he got for no reason from the double scuttle. Then we take the other camp, as we saw the, or rather, the other neutral, as we saw the Kha'Zix die on his Krugs. Now he could come here, but I was pretty sure he won't, so I just went for this. You can also not go for it, you can just take the Krugs if you want. It's kind of up to you. Got level 6. Fight this guy. Got a flash. Cool. Amazing. Could do the Krugs, but you may notice as well that I have the camps up here. This camp is coming up. If I just do the Krugs right now, it doesn't really help me in any major way. I also won't get like a much better buy as I spot Sorks. So we can't just play kill any bot lane, right? Very simple plan, right? And then you could farm your camps, but you also can keep in mind that if the enemy shows, right, in any way, that they haven't done their thing yet. So I believe he showed like here somewhere. When so exactly. Oh, here. See, like here he shows, and you can see that the enemy jungler does not have the red buff, right? Because people for some reason think that you can walk around this. You can't. So he didn't really have a red buff. Shows up here, still didn't have a red buff, and he uses ultimate ability. Which means I now know he 1 still has a red buff to clear, and 2 has no ult. And 3, I have my ult. So it's very natural that if I walk into his jungle, it's very likely that he's not going to be able to play. His option, flash away and give up the red. Amazing, right? And if he didn't do it in this bush, or I went in a different, let's say, path or whatever, then he would die as well. Okay, now, prediction, mind games type thing, right? Well, if I just took his red, and he knows that his camps are respawning on this side, like whatever camps there may be, right? Like the Krugs, for example, which we also know the timer for, because the Shake was the one that last hit it last time. Then where is he most likely to go? His red side is gone. His blue side, there could be something up. There is a blue buff up, right? But what's also up? Our red side. So it's very likely that he's going to look for our red side. So I go check his blue. He's not on his blue. My Shaco checks the red. And then we go to the red, and they have to pay for their mistake again. Right? If my Shaco didn't go to the red, then I would probably just go check the red myself instead. Though when I don't see him on the blue, it's pretty obvious that he is on my red anyway. So can also just go to the blue and then check the red. Like right now, for example, you see he's not on the blue side. So he must be somewhere here. So I wrote in chat and think that Kha'Zix is somewhere here. Right? Very basic tracking kind of idea. And then we keep playing like this. And we see, okay, we have the ult. We can still play for something aggressive or neutrals. We take the 6 grubs, whatever. Give them the dragon. Don't care. Okay, cool. And then after basing, now we just look to fight. Because we have items. So we just look to fight whatever we can. I think we even saw the Kha'Zix here somehow, so I just look to fight him. Doesn't want to fight me. Okay, cool. A very easy game to transition from this point as well, as you kind of just have control of the game, like most of the time, right? Even though stuff hasn't really worked out the way that we would like it. For example, the gank early on, or losing like double scuttle or stuff like that, or Kha'Zix like surviving on the red buff invade. A lot of that stuff can be very unfortunate in a way, but then yeah, dies. His camps are up, my camps are not up, so I'm getting kind of like an advantage. Then if I make sure to keep cycling my camps, I just get way ahead of it. I get to check his XP, 8.5, almost 10. And the next time he dies like doing some random shit in bot lane. I don't even know. But I basically told my bot lane that he's doing this again. That he will be bot lane right now, so they kinda knew. But yeah, basically just over for him, right? Again. So then, okay, what else can happen? There can also be the situation where we're deciding to play a level 2 jungler anyway, right? Level 2 invade type jungler. But this time the enemy jungler gets a good enough leash and he saves his smite and whatever. And he actually, let's say he is able to finish this camp, right? So this guy tried to finish it, he got it, Okay, cool. And then he basically dies to like this, whatever, right? Not like the end of the world for him. Not the ideal though. But then again, the same pattern occurs where laners won't really want to respect everything you do as a jungler, because if you respect everything a jungler does as a laner, then you're always giving a prio. If you're always giving a prio, then the enemy jungler can do whatever they want. If the enemy jungler can do whatever they want, then again, you cannot contest prio, right? It's that kind of a situation. So now what ends up happening is that these two decide to like keep fighting because they started pushing from the start. Like they started contesting prio from the start as they are kind of stronger, right? Nautilus, Yumi. So then these two die. Because again, when you invade enemy jungler, he cannot really respond, especially if he's dead, right? Even if he wasn't dead, he can't really respond to you ganking his laner. And the laner already started pushing. So then they're fucked, kind of. They can survive, but they will still be kind of fucked. And it just is an unfortunate situation for everyone involved at the point. And that's why these kind of paths are kind of, let's say, quite dominant right now. Especially if you check the leaderboards in EU and Korea, you will see that basically in Europe, like half the people play in Italy. In Korea, like 80% of the people play in Italy in top 100. And Italy is a champion that does this kind of thing very well. And then we have some random shit, right? Like here, I could very easily just clear all of my camps. But as the laners are doing some random shit, I want to help them in some way, right? And this is a trap that anyone can fall for, really, if you're not really keeping yourself disciplined all the time. Like right now, okay, got the splash, got him to 1 HP. Amazing, just clear. But as my laner is doing some interesting stuff, sitting in a bush and like teasing this guy or whatever, I then decide to do this. Not really worth it, as I could be clearing my third camp already by now, as I spent a lot of time walking. But not too bad. But then he does whatever this is, and I'm level 3 against level 5, so this is going to be very obviously bad for me. But if I don't kill him, it's also bad. So it's just bad no matter what. It just sucks, right? But instead, I could have been clearing all of these camps, and I could be level 5 right now, easily. And I could be contesting him here right now. And I could be contesting, or ganking this, and so on. And so you just see that there are a lot of, let's say, missed opportunities that you get when you try to overforce something dumb that your laners do. But you can still fix it, right? You just need to not tilt yourself. You need to not get in your own head mentally and just say, okay, well, what can I do now, right? Like, okay, that sucks, but what can I do? For example, here, it's very obvious that these people can look for a play, right? CC, CC, and an AD carry. No CC does kind of nothing, just like shields a bit. Kind of does nothing as well, like just an AD carry. And like a Graves. So then we try to trap. And we managed to find some kind of a, let's say, a good trade. Freeze the wave. And go back. Not really frozen, but it holds up for Kaisa, so she gets more farm. If she can freeze it if she wants, she can also do something else with it if she wants. It's whatever, really. It's up to her. She can let it crash, she can let it freeze, whatever she wants. And then, if we just keep clearing our camps, we will find ourselves in much better positions. And if you ever solo kill an enemy jungler, you will find that you get a much bigger lead than you. So then now we have a bunch of items, we have a bunch of gold, and as I said, camps are your source of experience, while kills, ganks, whatever are your source of gold. So then again, I have a bunch of gold, right? I want some experience. So I will just be farming like this. Farm for farm. These people look for something. I'm not interested. We're still looking for something. Not interested. Cool, cool, cool. And if we just fast forward a bit, right? What are we looking for, really? We're looking for stuff we can exploit again. So, the enemy jungler shows here, right? He dies to Garen. And we know that the enemy ADC is respawning because we did whatever with enemy ADC. I don't know, we killed him. So then, if I stay here right now, there's no one that can really respond to this. So we 4-man dive to Zeri. They TP. Okay, time to leave. Right? Very simple, kind of read where the enemy is weakest and attack that. And that's basically the rest of this game. Played out in the same way, right? And if you do some very simple stuff, it's very easy to capitalize on the way that the jungle works, right? And as a laner, you're going to need to like farm and whatever, right? And you're going to need to trade, and you're going to need to roam and whatever else, maybe like play 1v1. But as jungler, it's going to be pretty information based, right? So as long as you learn the basic paths that people like to do, if you learn the way that people respond to different things, for example, if you take one of their camps, how they're going to respond. Examples being me taking enemy red, so I think they're either going to go to their blue or they're going to go to my red, right? And then you just weigh which one you think is more obvious here, which one you think is more likely, which one you think is easier for the enemy jungler to understand, easier for the enemy jungler to really do, and so on. It's going to be a lot easier to really capitalize on. And the biggest problem isn't even that it's so much easier for you as a jungler to climb, let's say. It's not that. The problem is that it's a lot easier for your teammate to lose you the game because he's autofill jungle and doesn't do anything. Like, for example, doesn't do camps, right? The thing that I did in this replay where I didn't do my camps for no reason because I was trying to play off my laner for no reason because I assumed that my laner is sentient in some way. Obviously not. You should never assume that in lower elo. It's kind of pointless. You should just play off yourself and whatever you think is good. If you think there is a good play there, you should go there. If you don't think that, then you should not go there. So what ends up happening kind of is that if you are the jungler, half the time you play against autofills anyway, so they kind of just roll over. They don't do their camps, they don't gank or whatever, they don't do whatever, they don't do objectives, they overforce objectives and so on. And if you play against a main jungler, then it's, let's say, kind of elo inflating, right? Because half the time these people are playing against an autofill or something, and if that's the case, then they're not really going to be at the same level as someone plays a role that's highly contested, say mid lane or ADC, right? These roles are probably the most contested, and in those roles, the people are going to be a lot better at everything, let's say, because basically every game they play, they will play against someone else who mains that role. They might not be better at the game because they might be like pretty dumb because they can get away with more, let's say, use of mechanics, but they're on average going to be better at their own role. Yeah, so I hope that this gives you some kind of an insight in jungling, and if you really want to learn a bit more about jungling and use this role to, let's say, climb to whatever your goal may be at diamond, master, whatever, I think after master it's not really so simple as it is before master, but I think until master this role has always been quite simple, especially because people don't really like playing it, as it's generally viewed as quite complex. If you want to really improve on it a lot more, outside of what I've mentioned inside of this video, then you should look up a bunch of VODs of high elo players. You should look up what kind of pathings they do, and then you should try to adapt some of those paths, right? So maybe like one of them, or two or whatever, and focus on really making sure that you're being efficient all the time by clearing your camps and so on while doing their path, right? So you want to do their path, but you want to make sure that you're always doing your camps, and then that way you will be able to be very strong inside the game while also understanding the pathings that people like to do in a way. If you have any questions or you think that something could be explained better, or I don't know, maybe you would like to see a video on something more specific rather than such a generic topic, then leave that in the comments and maybe I'll get to it. Anyway, though, until next time, bye bye.